What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you on SoFi. SoFi did have a pretty kick-ass day. It went up 7.14%. I want to go over some of the current data points and ultimately where I see things going next. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that said, let's get right to it. So like I said, 7.14% in the green today. 66.6 million shares were traded. 59.8 is the average. So big money was getting into SoFi. So they're finally ready to propel SoFi back into the double digits, and I'm going to talk on options because the options are looking free and clear for them to propel this, like I said, to the double digits, which realistically I feel like a lot of us do think that SoFi should be at. With their earnings, what's been happening in the market right now, I feel like SoFi should be at 1150, but then again, what do I know, right? I'm not a financial advisor. So again, these are some of the transactions: 2.55 million, 8.17. So a lot of big money was getting in, and comparing this to almost 2 weeks ago, night and day difference. So when SoFi was roughly around the $8 range, it was getting suppressed quite heavily, in fact, and artificially. So it is kind of nice to see that SoFi, the bigger entities out there, are ready to kind of cause SoFi to go up. Even looking at the Elliott Wave technicals, it does have a pivot point of $9.21. And if SoFi does get over that, then this is where it's anticipated to touch roughly about $10.90 as far as the high extreme within this level right here. So technicals are looking very much primed and ready. If it does touch that though, then most likely it will need to consolidate, only because looking at stochastic, it is getting up there, which is considered somewhat overbought. So it might need to consolidate somewhat, but then again, if it's in the 1050 range, who cares if it consolidates back down to 10? I think that's still very healthy for the bigger picture. Today, it officially did get over that 50-day moving average, and it not only just briefly got over it, it just punched right through the wall. So today was very interesting. As well, there was no official news, no SEC filings today. Well, actually, let me clarify. So during the trading day, there wasn't. After hours, so at 5:14, so roughly about 15 minutes ago, they did submit the 10K. So I'll quickly go over that on another separate video, so that way I'll review it and go over all the finite notes that is in here and everything else. But aside from that though, I feel like a broad correction is going to happen if GDP numbers do come out in favor. And so yeah, GDP is coming out tomorrow and then PCE on Thursday. So let's go over some data points. One thing that really stood out to me over the last couple of days, of course, with SoFi is shorts and what they've been doing. And I do bring up short interest on every single video that I talk on, more of a benchmark. I'm definitely not saying SoFi is a squeeze or whatever, but over the last little bit, shorts have been closing out some of their positions. Whereas in a lot of other growth stocks, despite the rally that's been happening, shorts have been probably pulling out their hair, but they have been doubling down. So SoFi, with shorts closing out some of their positions, I think that's kind of generally positive and very bullish. So today, at the end of the day, they did end up returning about 6,000 shares, so somewhat flat, but 16.51% of the free float is being shorted, 150.54 million shares overall are being shorted, and cost to borrow average is 0.84%, and utilization is 53.04%. So again, the metrics don't really justify SoFi being a squeeze play, but it is still interesting to kind of note and analyze what shorts are doing on a daily basis. Looking at options though, $24 million in calls being purchased versus 4.76 million in puts. And you can tell just based on the dollar value right here. So just based on this, there was $3 million in premiums just in that 5 minutes right here. So like I said, big money is getting in. And plus one way to do that is through options. Sentiment wise, it was pretty much evenly divided, but 46% of all the options were bearish today. And of the call options, so I am looking at the open interest, and you can see at the 850 strike price, there's 32,000 in open interest. And then at the $9 strike price, 28,000. Right now, SoFi is above that. So most likely market makers were probably hedging and kind of realizing that SoFi was heading in a upward motion, and probably some of the transactions today was actually market makers. But aside from that though, you can see that it is completely free and clear for SoFi to run up. So overall, that is very, very positive, because that has been one of the restraints in the past, is market makers trying to manipulate and keep SoFi down below certain levels. But right now, now, SoFi is, in theory, of course, dependent on data coming out tomorrow and Thursday, but in theory, SoFi is free and clear to run up. So who knows? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But looking right here with it closing at $9.15, still trading between this pivot and this R1. So $9.28 is going to be a strong pivot point for SoFi, as is $9.21. So that's more linked to the Elliott wave technicals. So SoFi is getting very close to kind of the transition point back into the double digits very, very soon. Looking on the actual chart, like I mentioned, it did break above that 50-day moving average. And looking at stochastic, it is bullish. So you do see the white line above the red, but with it getting up there, if it does get into that double digits, then this is where it could be considered overbought. But then again, as SoFi did run up, even for, was it a 2-week, 3-week time span, it was considered overbought. But during that time span, market didn't care. Everything was running up, so we might have a very similar circumstance to what happened in December. Number of retail investors have been getting in based on the momentum indicator as well. So yeah, all in all, I think things are looking fairly good. Options are looking very optimistic and bullish, as is the technicals, and then I like to bring up shorts. So even this information, how I analyze this, is all optimistic. So let me know your thoughts on all of this. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, if you do like my channel, want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, and also the comments. But with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.